Good morning, Dharma siblings, family, everyone. And especially a good morning to anyone who's new here today. And everyone on Zoom and YouTube, welcome. It's good to be seeing your beautiful faces. I wanted to do something we haven't done in a long time. Just stand up and greet each other however comfortably you feel, whether it be silent bow or jovial good morning. We're going to start on page 9 with the refuge commitments. Oh, refuge. Do I have a different book? Oh. Oh. Thank you. Page 7. I appreciate it. All right. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. On the next page, page 8, Heart Sutra. Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceive the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering. No cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any elusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning again. Wow, it's the third Sunday we've been together in person. It feels really good to finally be here. And it is my first Dharma talk. So I've been tasked with giving my wayward talk of how I came here. Wherever I went, there I was. And wherever you go, there you are. And more about that later. But it's just, so it all started with my heart. When I was born, I had 2 holes in my heart, and I wasn't going to make it. And somehow I pulled through without having open heart surgery. And so that's pretty amazing. I was born and raised as a Christian in West Michigan as a Michigander. Most people are raised that way, but as a kid, I'd always felt like there was something more. And with Christianity, for me personally, I felt like there was some kind of box, like I wasn't giving everything, and I was very inquisitive kid. I would always ask questions. So why am I here? What am I doing? What is the purpose of life? And so just going through all that and kind of just trying to figure out where I'm going, I came to learn about Buddhism first in high school, just history class, figuring out the Four Noble Truths and stuff like that. But it didn't really click with me until a little later. I went to philosophy, dual enrolled with school. And that was an amazing experience. Just kind of my worldview kind of being tipped upside down, looking at a different perspective, hearing about Eastern religion and more Buddhism. But I didn't really start down the path until I was at a low point in my life. I suffer from depression and addiction. And when I was at one of my lower points, my friend had come over, one of my best friends, and he kind of shook me, and he was like, "What are you doing with your life? Why are you living like this?" And it was kind of a wake-up call. And so I decided to look into meditation because I heard, hey, that helps with depression and stuff. And I found a book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, by Cabot Zinn. And that book I highly recommend to anyone new to meditation. It's not even a Buddhist book. Cabot Zinn does mindfulness practice, and he would bring up Buddhism every once in a while because the Buddha had taught meditation as cornerstone of his practice. So I keep reading Buddhism in this book, and I'm like, I feel called to look this up. So I Google Buddhist temple in my area, and lo and behold, this place shows up. So I come in first Sunday. I don't know about the back entrance, so I come in through the front door, and Hung Su, my very first teacher, greets me with open arms and says, "Just so you know, we don't worship the Buddha. We have these statues here as respect. It's more same thing with the bowing. It's not like there's a worshiping going on. There's just a mutual bowing to the Buddha nature within every one of us." So hearing that, and the first Dharma talk was actually a kid's story about Siddhartha. Siddhartha was the Buddha before he became the Buddha. He was a child, and he found the swan that was shot in the courtyard, and he wanted to bring it to life or help it, nurse it back to health. And his cousin Devadatta comes and says, "Hey, did you find my bird? I just shot it down." And Siddhartha says, "No, this is my bird. I'm taking it and I'm saving its life." So they had this whole. They actually eventually brought it to the court with the ministers and the king, and it all turned out in Siddhartha's favor, because when they finally made the decision, they said, you wanted to help this live, so it belongs to you. So that was one of the very first teachings I had ever heard, and it really stuck with me. And another thing I remember him saying was, if anyone ever tells you they have all the answers, you go the other way. The Buddha had taught also that you question everything. And when I heard that, I'm like, I do question everything. Questioning things is important to the practice. And so I felt like I was home when I came in these doors. And it felt really good. I decided to I was all in. I started volunteering, doing kids food basket, anything I could do. I was here, and I heard about the 5 precepts, doing accepting the gifts of the precepts, and I really wanted to do that as well. So with the precepts, we have to respect and protect life is the first one. Respect and protect the property of others is the second. The third is respect and protect the truth. The fourth, I got those mixed up, but the fourth is respect and protect sexual boundaries. And then the fifth is respect and protect your own body, whether it be with intoxicants or addictions. And so that one has always been the hardest one for me with my past. And I was I loved coming in and doing that. And towards the end of that first precept class, I had fallen back on the wagon, or fallen off the wagon. I started drinking again, and I decided I lost a friend, and it was just a really difficult time in my life. And so I kind of just dropped out of the precepts. I didn't continue. And it was a while before I came back. But when I did, I knew it was like when you fall asleep and you wake up and you know there's something that's off, and you can't really go back to bed, or you can't really fall back asleep because you've already started down this path. For me, that's how I was. So I knew I had to finish the precepts. So the next year, I followed through and I got through the whole precepts. And I started going through the recovery program, which helped me greatly. This temple has an amazing recovery program. 3 and 7 months sober from alcohol. I feel really great about that. Thank you. And so with that, I'm going back into the practice. And the next step is, and actually my Dharma name that I was given was Su, which is hard to pronounce, and that just means unadorned determination. And when I just felt like I came into that name, and going into the Bodhisattva training, which a Bodhisattva is just a being in the Buddhist terms who puts off their own enlightenment until everyone else has been saved, in a sense. So it's like they have this altruistic kindness just to help every being, no matter what the scenario is. And so I felt very called. The first time I heard about the Bodhisattva path, something was reawakened within me, something that just felt like I had to continue going down. And with that, I have, when I was doing my training, I have Nagarjuna's Guide to the Bodhisattva Path. And I chose 4 verses to share with you today that really struck me. The first one is verse 111. Be the first to act, taking the lead on good karmic deeds, speaking with smooth and sublime words, being skillful in discourse, guided by right intention, and having no one above or below to whom gifts are not given. Intention, that is something that I keep coming back to in the precepts, and going through just with the Buddhist training. There's no right and wrong, black and white. It gets dualism. The Buddha tries to teach non-dualism. And so with intention, I try to do what is wholesome. And with that, and the intention is also one of the 4 noble truths, one of the 8-fold noble path we have, which is right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right view, and right resolve. And intention goes in there with the resolve. The second verse I'd like to share with you, 142. One works for the sake of Dharma and not for the sake of self-benefit. One works to develop meritorious qualities and not for renown. One wishes to liberate beings from suffering and does not wish merely to ensure his own happiness. This is another verse that strikes me, and I have to remind myself that I want to work for the happiness of everyone, including myself. Don't forget about yourself, but the happiness of others is very important as well. And just having that wish to liberate other beings. The fourth verse I chose was verse 158. Although replete with karmic rewards from immense merit, the mind should not become lofty or overwhelmed with delight. Although one may be as poverty-stricken as a hungry ghost, one should not become downcast or overcome with distress. This one, I feel like I get stuck in extremes. I'm either super happy or very, very sad. So this reminds me to follow the middle way. Another thing that brought me here and keeps me coming back is the middle path, not going into any extreme. So I think that's a very important teaching for me to remind for myself. And the last verse I'd like to share with you today is abide in the right contemplation of all dharmas, 164, as devoid of self and devoid of anything belonging to a self. But even so, one must not relinquish the great compassion or one's reliance on the great kindness. So I think that's saying, a lot of times you hear it like in the Heart Sutra, everything is empty. And you might get the idea of nihilism or that what's the point? But this reminds us that this kindness, we have to have balance, the two wings. You have the wing of wisdom and the wing of compassion, and without both wings, you can't fly. So that is one that just I keep coming back to. It's a very powerful teaching in my experience. There's a few other analogies, like the finger pointing to the moon. We all try to fixate on the finger, it seems, and we forget about the moon. But the moon is that brilliant, luminous energy. You can't change how the moon looks, just the time of day, and so that analogy. And when you go through the practice, there's another analogy of crossing the river with a raft. And once you get across the river, you don't carry the raft on your back. You don't need the raft anymore. You're already on the other side. So I really like those two analogies. And going back to the 5 precepts, which, again, were very still important in my practice. There's a story Hung Su had brought up about intention. A monk is walking in the woods, and a hunter comes by asking where the deer had gone. He's hunting. And the monk points in the other direction, except the deer went that way because the monk wanted to save the deer's life. And so in that case, that is respecting the first precept by going against the fourth, which is to respect and protect the truth. So it's showing that these are not commandments. They're not black and white. They're because perhaps that hunter needed to feed his family. We don't know everyone's situation. So just really trying to meet people where they are. The Buddha taught appropriately. He had 84,000 different teachings. One of skillful means brings me back to where he taught where people would understand him. He met the people where they were at. And with the skillful means or expedient means, he just told stories and parables and just really explained things to his audience. And with that, I I was inspired, and knowing that becoming a teacher and sharing this wisdom, helping people help themselves, because on this path, Buddhas can only show the way. You must walk the path yourself. And there is one last thing I'd like to share with you. It's from Shantideva, who's a good friend of mine. It is from The Way of the Bodhisattva, and it's something I try to recite every morning. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector of those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need. And with that, I would like to prepare ourselves for meditation. And we bow. I think it's time for announcements.
Just to remind everybody, we have the mic, not for y'all, but for Facebook. Before we have any announcements, I'd like to draw your attention to the new piece of art here. And it is the people responsible for that are Young Sue, Kate, and Young Sue's wife. She's not here, is she? But it's a very beautiful piece. And there's wisdom right here from the Morning Bell, or from the Yable. Everything is created by mind alone. Announcements. I'll come over. Yeah, you do.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the new people that are here. We're glad to see your faces. It's nice to see the old faces, too. I want to thank Shane, I forgot your other name, for your Dharma talk. I appreciate your words, and I really appreciate your smile. It's so nice to see somebody up there smiling.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you smile often, too, and I appreciate it. But it's so nice, too. This isn't my announcement. I'm just saying this. It's so nice, too, to see the young people, because some of us are getting older. Well, we're all getting older, but you are our future. So we're really grateful to all of you that are stepping up and furthering your path by doing this. Thank you. Now, my real reason for standing up. My name is Ambo or Kate. I answer to either, and I'm part of the Fundraising Committee, and that means that I have to help raise funds. So, as you all know, this temple exists because of you, all the volunteering you do, the board, the Dharma Council, the people that clean the temple, the toilets, that go out into the community and volunteer, and the people that, do everything. I can't think of all the things you do, but thank you. And that's how we exist, partially. But we also have bills to pay because the landlord hasn't given us free rent yet. And we have heating bills and have to buy supplies and things like that. So we need funds for those things. And I'm going to talk to you briefly about ways that you can help us with that. First of all, the Fundraising Committee is planning a silent auction December 4th. It's between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's going to be here at the temple. It's a Saturday. It'll start at 7 o'clock in the evening, and we'll have items that you can bid on, and we'll have refreshments after the bidding is over. And we will need your help with donations for the auction. And if you're thinking of donating an item, where are you, Gail? Gail down there, you can contact her. I don't have her contact information right now, but we'll have it for you. Oh, it'll be in the newsletter. So if you're thinking of something you might donate, contact Gail. You can also help by volunteering at the auction, and we'll be looking for volunteers later. And the third way you can help with the auction is to come and to spend money here and bring friends and family. It's before Christmas time, so a lot of people like to buy gifts, and this is a really nice way to gift. You know, you can help the temple out and purchase something for somebody you care about. So I think that's it for the silent auction. Other ways you can help are, we have Dana, what do you call those things? Boxes at either end of the temple. So if you put your donation in there, that will help us. I give my donation once a month because that's what works for me. But there's other ways you can do that. You can come in when you come in and bring a donation. You can do it with PayPal. Is that right? Is there another way? Not right now, I don't think. Amazon Smile. If you're purchasing anything from Amazon, you click that button. I don't know anything more about it.
Go to smile.amazon.com instead of the normal URL. And then once you've selected the charity, it just automatically, everything that you buy, just automatically something comes off the top and goes to Amazon. You don't have to think about it. So the more you use Amazon, the more money the temple gets. It's just always remember go to Smile. But there is a setup step in the beginning. Once when you do that for the very first time, it will ask you what charity. So you'll have to search for this one, and that will take care of it.
Thank you. He covered it.
Thank you, because I don't know that stuff. Okay, another way you can help out the temple with funds is to go downstairs, and we have a little shopping area where we have Buddhist themed items. And by purchasing those, that money also goes to the temple. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Good morning, Sangha. I'm Yang Su, one of the teachers here. Thank you, Shane. Couple things. We're talking, the Dharma Council is talking about creating a kind of chaplaincy program. We're calling it Dharma Outreach. And so today, after we settle down and go down, people that are interested in this will meet downstairs for just a brief meeting to see the interest and how we might go from here. And then Wednesday, we'll discuss that in our Dharma Council meeting. So basically the idea is to bring it, we'll start out small, but the ultimate idea is to bring it to every mental and medical hospital, hospice, our Sangha shut-ins, or anybody that wants to know more about the Dharma and help them in whatever challenges they have. We will create a committee, and then we'll spread that wealth out. And when something comes up, and I'll be the coordinator for a while, then I'll go to my email list and you'll be asked if you can go to the hospital or wherever it is. So come downstairs, give us your name and phone number, and we'll be getting back in touch with you as we develop this program. And for those on YouTube or Zoom, yangsu@zengr.org. That's my email. If you're interested, give us your phone number and we'll put you on the list. Shane mentioned the recovery program that is here on Mondays and Fridays and Wednesdays at the Alano Club. If you're interested in anything that goes on at the temple, sign up for our newsletter. You get the details there. So go to Zinn, Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple and sign up there. And I think that's it.
Anybody else?
We have a volunteer opportunity coming up August 7th. That's a Saturday at 9 a.m. It's just going to be cleaning up the exterior of the temple, around the building, the parking lot, pulling weeds. There's plenty of garbage to pick up and just tidying up the property. That'll be at 9 a.m. There will be some water and light refreshments available. Bring working gloves if you want to come. And if you have any more questions, contact Brian. His link is in the newsletter. Thank you.
So I'm on the fundraising committee as well, and I challenge each one of you to think of one of your friends that are really talented. So for example, I have a friend who's a photographer, and some of her pictures are downstairs in the Buddha Boutique. I'm always amazed at people's creative abilities. For example, that and Ellen, she does a lot of our bracelets downstairs. So I'm challenging each one of you to find a friend who's really creative, really talented, who's willing to donate. And also think about businesses too. For example, I'm going to go to Martha's Vineyard, and they have donated in the past. So we'll have hopefully a basket done by them for the silent auction. But personally, I'm not all that creative. I'm a hard worker more than a creative person. And I'd like to find somebody for my donation to the fundraising. I want to find somebody who can make those benches. So does anybody here know of a good woodworker? Yes? Wonderful. So we'll talk. That is wonderful. Okay, perfect. See, you asked the question.
Is that it? Oh, excuse me. Don't know.
I'm not on any committee or anything. It was just a suggestion. I did some fundraising for my son's school before. And I know a lot of times people look at artisans who are probably struggling right now. And one of the things I was going to suggest is thinking outside the box a little bit with like, even you'd be amazed, like people will bid on like household services, like somebody that does, you know, some cleaning or we had somebody, this is a different area. We had a lot of septic systems. So somebody donated a septic cleaning, which I know as gross as that sounds, it's a very expensive service. So it was wonderful. And so just a little idea and a thought that I wanted to share.
Thank you. And teachers can also volunteer to go to someone's home and give a 5-10 minute talk. So that puts on the spot. Is that everything?
I have one more announcement. There you go. I just wanted to invite anyone who is free on Thursday mornings. We have a discussion group. We're starting at 9:30 meditation at Wilcox Park. We're going to meet at the tennis courts, but then we'll find a nice spot in the grass probably. We're discussing Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Old Path, White Clouds, chapter 60 and 61. But don't feel like you need to read the book. We talk about the Dharma and everything, so I just wanted to extend that. And with that, we'll stand and do our closing gathas. Shake the blood in your legs a little bit. And those are on page, looks like 9. You say together. For all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. Thank you. Enjoy the day. If we can just keep 8 cushions out, and the rest of the cushions can be put away in that closet, and then the great chairs go downstairs.
And let's meet about 10 after downstairs if you're interested in Dharma.
Okay. Right now? Yeah. Okay.
Make it about 5 minutes.
Got you.
Yeah, I don't